Hey Cambridge, this is City Councilor Nadeem Mazen coming to you with a brief update of the Monday, March 2nd City Council meeting. It was a short meeting and there are a few interesting standout issues. We achieved as a city a AAA bond rating from the three major credit agencies nationally, and we are, I think, one of 34 municipalities to be so rated 3 times in a row. It's a great distinction, but also it means that we can engage in large capital projects like schools or municipal broadband without fear that we will end up suffering from those large financial outlays. It also means that we have great flexibility when refinancing and any other number of financial devices that our finance department has to put in place over time, and it generally means that the city saves money as we go and is in tip-top financial shape. That's about all I have to say about that, but there are obviously very large bonded projects that the city is involved in, including schools and other large outlays, which I'll be reviewing over time. The City Council and the City Manager are proposing an ordinance change to free speech banner placements in relation to resident concern, where in fact the resident is suing the city for this type of ordinance change. And I think we all agree that it's unfortunate when postings are made, especially commercial postings, to cars or to railings or telephone poles. But in this case, it's a matter of free speech when someone is advertising something nonprofit or something that benefits and engages the community. The position of the city is that even when those non-commercial handouts are a nuisance, they are legal and they must be protected. So we're in the process of changing that ordinance in order to address both the legal request and the free speech guarantees that are owed to that person and to the community in Cambridge. There's a policy order by Leland and McGovern and myself that celebrates, thanks Lesley adjuncts and professors, but also asks Lesley administration to take seriously the union organizing being undertaken both by adjuncts and now by professors there. As a former adjunct, as a former employee of MIT, as a former professor, I can tell you that the academic community gets an unfair shake by university administrators when it comes to part-time or even nearly full-time employees, that corners are cut, that benefits are cut, that salaries are unfair. And I'm excited that at Lesley, the adjunct population and now the faculty population are organizing to change what has been a grave injustice now for decades. I put in a policy order so that city committee meeting agendas can be available a few days in advance. I think as a council, we seem to agree that those agendas should be set out on the City Hall bulletin board online and be available a few days in advance. Not to have a city committee meeting agenda in advance is not to be able to know whether you want to attend, not to know what is going to go on, not to know sometimes even when you should show up. Having an agenda is basic, and having it in advance is obvious. So I'm very glad that everyone agrees on this, and the clerk has been incredibly helpful in moving to implement this within the next couple of months. I asked for reconsideration on publicly financed elections. It was a motion that passed in committee in Government Rules and Operations, and I was very surprised to see it fail on the floor in a special meeting which my colleagues knew I could not make. I was surprised to see it brought up at that meeting. I was also surprised to see it killed at that meeting, with several city councilors flip-flopping their votes against publicly financed elections. Publicly financed elections allow a more diverse set of people to be involved, allow special interests to be competed with through the popular vote and through people addressing and approaching their constituents in a broad way. There's a number of ways that public financing can protect and improve our city, even though we don't suffer from corruption here in an obvious or direct way. It's always possible that special interests could subvert the political will of the people, and publicly financed elections would be an incredibly important way that we protect the integrity of our democratic process. The fact that it's failed here does not mean that I'm done fighting for it. I really think that we as residents and as Americans have something like a 96% interest in the reform and the improvement of special interest input into elections. With a percentage like that all over the country, I can be sure that we'll have very popular support and hopefully very quick and substantial solutions as we move towards some kind of initiative either next year or as part of a referendum or some other type of opportunity to bring that back up and get that going.